Welcome to Academic Track session number 7.
I'm glad you guys stuck around. How many academics do we still have left in the room? Okay. Well, you guys won't tell, right? No. Okay, good. No, so we'll do a couple.
Do you want me to read your bio?
Sure.
So that people know who you are? Or does everybody in this room know Chris?
Maybe.
Our speaker is Chris Speicher of Marywood University. Dr. Chris Speicher. Chris directs Marywood's entrepreneurship program and is actively engaged in the university's efforts to recruit students internationally, which could have been another topic, right? A 3-time graduate of Temple University, Speicher is a continuous learner and recently attended the MIT Design Thinking program. He's lectured all over the world, most recently in India and Bangladesh. Outside of the classroom, Chris has been involved with over 30 startups ranging from healthcare to real estate. His most famous startup is Dart Drones, the nation's largest drone education company, which he started with his daughter and CEO, Abby Speicher. In addition, his family operates a 5,000 bush blueberry farm in Wayne County, PA. And if you want to talk about innovation and education, we could talk about the blueberry farm because he has learned a lot. Please welcome Dr. Chris Speicher.
Hi, everybody. So it's great to be here, and this really is about recruitment for Marywood. Back in 2016, when Sister Mary Persico was named our new president, I had my first conversation with her, which was, are we prepared for 2026? And, Sister Mary Persico, as some of you might know, she came into a pretty turbulent time at Marywood in 2016. And she's looking at me like, 2026, what's 2026? And she asked the question, and I tried to give her like a little bit of an answer. And I could tell she just wasn't biting at that point, 10 years out. It was 2016. So I started asking her this question with our quarterly and annual reviews. And finally she said, I was at a conference where they were talking about 2026. We have to get ready. I said, yes, we have to get ready. So what are we going to do to prepare? So 2026, for all of you that don't know, in the world of higher education and academia, is the financial cliff. 2008, when we had the financial crisis, people stopped having babies. And 2026, that's going to be felt and impacted on all educational institutions throughout the country, but particularly heavy in the Northeast United States, to the extent of 20 to 30% reduction in the number of applicants that we're going to see. So the crisis is real. The crisis is something that we really have to, schools have to start preparing for. If they haven't started preparing for it yet, it's going to be rough waters, unfortunately. So one of the things that we started doing was international recruiting. And one of the things that we're doing is this. And we've had a really, really successful run doing international recruiting. And I'm going to go through that and talk a little bit about it. So as many of you know, the BPC is the business plan competition. And Mary was part of the competition since day one. It was founded by Don Webster and Jaco Schmidt. And Marywood had a lot of successes in the program. In fact, in 2014, we won it all 4 categories. At that time, there were 4 categories, and we won them all. We had a winner in one category or another for 5 years. We were cutting other schools a break in the past couple of years. Come on. We haven't had a lot of really great participation in the last couple of years. I can't explain it. Don and I keep trying to come up with the reason why we haven't had great participation in the competition the last few years, but we will be back, Jerry. Okay. I promise. And the program is responsible for thousands of jobs in PA. If any of you, we did a pretty detailed research project a few years ago on the impact of the business plan competition on jobs in Northeast Pennsylvania, and it's a serious number of jobs. Well over 2,500 jobs have been created by the business plan competition, so its success is huge. So, wait, what happened? I'm going the wrong way. All right, so Marywood's participation at BPC, of course, Dart Drones, I'm going to mention that first. They have to be somewhat self-serving. TMG Health, M&S Biotics, which just went through a round of funding to students that started back in 2014 And they just got funding from Johnson & Johnson for about $12 million to move their product forward in the marketplace. Pretty unique product. We've had a few others. Dart drones, my daughter actually ended up appearing primarily because she won the business plan competition here, and it was interesting to the producers of Shark Tank that she had won this business competition here. She won a business competition at Babson where she did her graduate work, and she got selected to be on Shark Tank. She was offered a deal by Mark Cuban, never really closed, but probably 60% of all the deals with and Shark Tank don't ever close. That was a video of her, but I'm going to cut that off. So I'm pretty actively involved with the ACBSP, which is the Accreditation Council of Business Schools and Programs. We have 1,200 members worldwide in 60 countries. We have 11 different regions around the world. Most of the schools in Northeast Pennsylvania are part of ACBSP. ACBSP's global vision is to see every business program of quality accredited and pursuing continuous improvement. I've been working with ACBSP since 2016, recruiting schools internationally. And part of that recruiting internationally is to get my school, Marywood, in front of a lot of these schools, so to recruit students to come to Marywood, which we've been really successful. Our numbers, which were just came out this earlier part of this week, in 2016 we had 8 applicants from India. This year we have 44 students that'll be starting from India, not applicants, but students that'll actually be starting. From Bangladesh we had 0 students. This year we'll have 4. In China, which is our biggest one, we had about 40 students from China in 2016. This year we'll have 400 students from China. So that's part of the reason that we've been working with ACBSB so closely, and it's been so successful. So the big idea was a friend of mine who is known as my brother from another mother, a guy named Rajesh Kajaria. And Rajesh and I became really close friends, but he started a large school in Gujarat, India, and he decided that we should hold a business plan competition after I told him about our business plan competition here in Northeast PA. That competition, which was just supposed to be his school and a couple other schools in Gujarat, spread out to 3 other states in India, and we also did Bangladesh. The idea for the trial run was for us to get just about 50 teams. The first go around we had over 100 teams that participated, and then our plan was, okay, let's think big and let's do 10,000 teams to compete worldwide. We named it Startup Tank. When we got started, we actually we tried to use some offshoot of Shark Tank, but the producers threatened to sue us, so we had to back off that name. So we held competitions in 3 locations in Gujarat and 1 location in Dhaka, Bangladesh. In India, it was a huge success. We got coverage over the entire country from the major news channels in the country for the event. We had senior level politicians that came to the grand opening of the event in Badadora. This was some students that actually participated in the event, and this was judges. Don, I know you know about the pain of getting judges to judge the competition. We had to find judges in India to come in and judge these competitions, which was India and Bangladesh, which was a real challenge, particularly the fact that we had 3 or 4 different locations going at the same time. That's Rajesh Kajaria. As you can see, we got lots of publicity. Marywood did. People say, well, why would Marywood want to participate and sponsor an event in India? We got tons of publicity around the country. We got tons of publicity both in every media outlet there, which was great. And it turned out pretty cool. So this was one group of students that participated in the competition in Gujarat. And the students were very, very excited about participating. We offered a small prize of $500, but $500 in India was an enormous amount of money. I mean, it's just it's big money. It's enough money to actually get a company going, get really started. Bangladesh was massive. We had an enormous amount of students, but we went to Bangladesh with the idea of introducing both our accreditation agency, ACBSB, with the idea that we were going to be signing up more schools, and simultaneously we did the business plan competition with a couple schools that were already members with ACBSB, and it was a very positive thing because they saw ACBSB's activities with getting schools together and bringing students together. So it was very, very successful for both ACBSB and for us at Marywood. Okay. Yeah, we had, these were the winners. These kids at the bottom were just the winners that participated, which we awarded prizes in like 10 different categories. But we had probably 200 or 300 students in total participate in Bangladesh. We had a little fun too. I had to learn how to drive a rickshaw.
Amin says you are a good driver.
Thank you. Okay, that was supposed to be funny, but actually my friend Rajesh is a member of the Jain religion, and the Jain religion believes no man should do physical service to another man. So when I told him I wanted to go on a rickshaw, he said, "That's fine, but you drive." So that's what happened there. It was a lot of fun. We had a good time driving around the streets of Bangladesh. So in Houston in 2019, we did a test run. And that test run, we selected teams from three ACBSB regions. One was in the Midwest, one was here in the Mid-Atlantic, and the last region was from South America. So we brought the teams to Houston. They competed for $5,000 in prize money. It was just a flat check that we gave them. There was really no real requirements with the money, what they had to do. We got sponsors from textbook companies and some learning management system companies that were able to come up with the $5,000 in prize money. So now, come on, there we go. This is my three students who participated. They participated in TechBridge. They were part of the whole TechBridge process. They participated twice, 2 different years, and so they came down to Houston and participated there, which was a great experience for them. This is the students that all won first, second, and third categories. The students from South America really brought their A game. They were absolutely fantastic, and business ideas that you could invest in today. I mean, it was really a pretty cool process. Then the pandemic hit, and we had to stop everything. So we had plans to really get geared up for 2020. So we backed off completely. We didn't do anything. We talked about it at our virtual meetings, but we really didn't do anything. But now we're ready to go for Chicago in 2023. We began our planning in April of this year. We're planning on 100 teams per region, which would be about 1,100 total teams in the competition. We think we're going to get many, many more. We gained sponsorship both from schools, publishers, again, learning management systems. We have a pretty good prize system set up, but even more importantly, we're going to be taking the winners from each of the 11 regions around the world to Chicago to do their presentations in front of all the participants. And we're going to do one winner per region, and again, we've raised about $25,000 so far. I'm hoping we can get that up. Our goal initially was $100,000, but we're going to fall short of 100, but I think we're going to do more than 25 at this point. That's kind of it. So, for us at Marywood, these programs, have cost us some money. We have both the travel cost into it, the expense of the travel. We have the expense of sponsorship of the event, but we've definitely seen it back in terms of enrollment. And in terms of 2026, we all have to think outside the box. We all have to think of different ways in which we're going to increase our enrollment, and come up with greater numbers of students. And we have to think outside of our current thought process, which is the geographic areas in which we're all competing against one another. So our idea is that we can't think within the box that we're in. We have to start looking more to international locations in order to get to do this successfully. And so far, it's worked. It's been a lot of fun. I've had an enormous amount of fun. It's kind of reinvigorated me to go and do new stuff. And I'm happy to say I've totally co-opted Don. I have Don now participating in setting up all the rules, and Don will be joining me in Chicago next year with the judges to find the winning team that we're going to be awarding out in Chicago. So I thank you to Don for all of his help, and it's been a lot of fun working with him. I know that should be a laugh too. But in any event, it's been fun.
Careful, I hold the mic.
Okay, so that's kind of it. Any questions you may have?
Chris, I have a big one. Can I go first?
Yes.
What's this mean for Northeast PA?
Well, what it means for Northeast PA is a couple things. Number one, we'll have a much more diversified student population on our campus for sure. We're going to have students literally from all around the world, and that only enhances our student population, I think. That's number one. Number two, from the sense of financial stability, these students coming here, it's going to provide a much greater base of financial stability to try to ride out the 2026 crisis, the cliff that we're getting to. So we think that group of students will be really good in terms of our finances for the next couple years. And our enrollment has been literally skyrocketing in this sector, so we're going to keep going in this this direction.
We do have some new member school opportunities for the coming year sitting in this room today.
Okay.
Keystone, Misericordia, Penn State Scranton, to name three. Penn State Hazleton, 4. There we go. Oh, that's right. Sorry. My bad. Question over here, Chris.
I'm Danielle Boyce. I'm the principal of Old Forge Junior Senior High School. This is my first administrative position in a high school, so this is kind of blowing my mind of what I need to get my students ready to enter. Can you give me an example of a winning plan?
Of a
what do
winning
they
team?
present?
A winning team?
Yes. What does a winning team present? What?
Well, that's
I'm not familiar with this. So
Yeah.
how would you win this?
Well, you have to be pretty well prepared. So we, historically,
You probably need to answer this in a couple ways.
Yeah.
Ours and the one that you were talking about on the screen in India and Bangladesh,
yeah.
right?
So let's start with ours because Don and I have this conversation all the time. We start right now. So August 22nd, our students will enter an entrepreneurship class. Through that entrepreneurship class, they'll learn how to come up with, and generate new ideas, look at things that, problems that could be solved, discover whether or not there's a business to be had in those problems that'll be solved. And then we get to the end of the semester and each student has to make a pretty detailed presentation where it's determined whether or not their plan is good enough to go on to the next level, the business plan competition. So we start that now, and then we will select 2 or 3 teams in December, and those teams will start again almost immediately. They'll work through Christmas, they'll work starting in January, and then they go to the business plan competition events starting in February, and the presentations in March, and hopefully they end up in the finals and become winners. So the process is really, really, really long. The great part for high schools is that you have the students in front of you for 181 straight days, right? So you can start them in the beginning and grow them through that process as they go through, and it's much more continuous than it is for us. We have all these distractions on a college campus both with breaks and other things like that. So, but if your students want to participate, they should start going through. And the Entrepreneur Institute, which I think is at King's on December 9th this year, get your students actively engaged in that. Get them to start to think about that and get them active, I think is the great way to go. That's just a partial answer to a question. You know, like how detailed is it? It is amazing. If you participate in your first business plan competition this year, you're going to be so impressed at the level and detail that these students come in with. It is really, really super impressive.
So Chris, let's do the high school version. We actually have last year's high school business plan competition champion sitting in the back.
There you go.
How about if we let Caitlin answer the question of
That'd be great.
what did she win with last year? Caitlin Marley.
Let's hear your idea.
Hi everyone, my name is Caitlin Marley. I'm a rising senior at Hazleton Area Academy of Sciences. And last year I competed with my idea of the fistula stimulator. So basically for patients with dialysis, they need to squeeze a ball when they get a fistula implanted. And this was a device that would do it for them so they don't have to spend so many days in like a strenuous activity for them squeezing this ball. So my plan, basically I started with my idea and I explained the story, which my partner and I both had backgrounds of like our family members having this dialysis process. And then we had some financial background, and we also put like Ben Franklin funds, and we explained how that would introduce our business.
Yeah. There you go.
Okay, if there's anybody in the room going, oh my God, are you kidding me? That's what the judges were saying when they saw this team.
Yeah.
So they came up with a new product. There actually has been discussion about whether or not they should create a patent, a new product to deal with a dialysis condition. There's an example of a high school team.
And every year, the quality of the ideas is fabulous. It's really, really good. But look forward to welcoming you guys in and helping you in any way that we can. So it'll be a lot of fun. Your students will have a ball. And that's the key. Other questions?
Any other questions for Chris?
Okay.
Chris, thank you so
Thank
much.
you, everyone.